Well, I'm Kelly Lee, founder and creator of Ratty bars, and I'm excited to be here today. So thank you for signing up and wanting to be a part of this presentation that I'm about to give on Yacon root and prebiotics. I want to give a quick disclaimer. I'm not a scientist, but I'm very passionate about Yacon root and prebiotics because of my own health issues that I encountered in my life over the last 10 years, I guess it would be. So I've done a lot of research of my own, and that's where this information is being pulled from. It's just my own research. This presentation, of course, is going to be brought to you by Ratty Bars. And so let me introduce myself. I'm Kelly Lee. I'm an avid hiker, runner, and an outdoor enthusiast, and the creator and founder of Ratty Bars. I've been experimenting with clean eating recipes most of my life. A lot of people would title me a health nut, and many years I've been spending time in the kitchen cooking and prepping. My husband and I are big backpackers, so I like to bring food along with me that's real food when we're out backpacking. And you can see my kids there, Buck and Rambo. Those are my kids. And a few years ago, back in around 2010 to 2013, I started experiencing tremendous chronic pain in my gut, and discovered that I had gallstones, and I had to have those removed. And then shortly after, I was diagnosed with hypothyroid. These health issues kind of threw me for a loop because I was an avid runner. I'd run marathons and do triathlons, and it basically halted me in doing the things that I love because I just didn't have the energy. And went to a lot of doctors and tried to, get the thyroid under control. And I decided that I wanted to heal myself with food, that was going to be the way that I was going to do this. And so I started experimenting with cooking with different ingredients. And that's when I came across the Yacon root. I was so excited when I found this little root because I heard that it was, what I read about it was that it was a natural sweetener and that it also contained prebiotics. When I first found the Yacon root, I didn't know what prebiotics were. And I didn't even know what Yacon root was. And so I ended up ordering some, and I started cooking with it. At the time, I was using brown rice syrup and honey as my natural sweeteners. And I was still having that spike in insulin, and I was still kind of feeling not 100%. Once I switched over to the Yacon root, I started to notice a difference in my health. I started using it in all of my baking, and I ended up coming up with a bar recipe that I started making for my husband and I to take while we were backpacking. And every weekend when we'd get ready to go backpacking, my husband would say, "Are you going to make those?" He was calling them dream bars back then. "Are you going to make those dream bars for the weekend?" And I would say, "Yeah, I'll make them." And then I would notice a difference when we'd be backpacking. My energy level, the sustainability of and not feeling overly hungry. With hypothyroid, a lot of times you feel like you're always hungry. I noticed that kind of disappearing. So I just decided that I was going to start cooking with it. So what the heck is Yacon root, right? It's a prebiotic, and it's a natural sweetener. It looks like a sweet potato, but it has the consistency of an apple or a watermelon because it's fibrous. It contains prebiotics. It's low in calorie. It helps regulate blood pressure. It reduces triglycerides. It acts as a natural appetite suppressant. And this is the one thing that I think I was noticing that was helpful in my hypothyroid, was that I was starting to feel satisfied. And I hadn't felt that way in a really long time. And I think it's because of the Yacon. I contributed to the Yacon root. It's a great alternative to sugar because it's naturally sweet. It helps control cholesterol. And it is considered a superfood, so it does have immune support. It does provide immune support. It's a perennial daisy. It comes from South America. And so why don't we dig a little deeper? So what type of prebiotic does Yacon root have? It has the FOS, or fructose saccharide, which is a healthy bacteria. It has a water content that usually exceeds 70%. So as I mentioned, it's got that consistency of an apple or a watermelon, so it's high in water. I mentioned this already. It is considered a superfood. It's a 0 to 1 on the glycemic index, so it's naturally low glycemic. It stimulates the healthy bacteria in your digestive system. It's rich in antioxidants, so it has cancer-fighting agents, so that's always a plus. Can help manage constipation and can benefit people living with diabetes, type 1 and type 2. So anybody have any questions on the Yacon root that you can, if you want to shoot me a message, I could answer for you this time. Okay, so what are prebiotics? I'm sure that most of you that are on here are pretty health conscious and probably think about what you put into your bodies and are probably pretty familiar with prebiotics, but I'll go ahead and cover it anyway. Prebiotics are a non-digestible fiber. They stimulate growth in the gut microbiome. Prebiotics are known also as a type of fiber that the human body cannot digest, so a non-digestible carb. They also serve as food for the probiotics, which are the tiny microorganisms that include bacteria and yeast. So prebiotics will typically stay in your upper GI tract, while your probiotics go into your lower GI tract. So while your probiotics are doing their job, they need fuel to do the job, right? So to have a harmony in your digestive system, you need both. So the prebiotics will stay in your upper GI, probiotics are in your lower GI tract, and they're pulling from the prebiotics in your upper GI tract, and it's creating harmony. And that's why prebiotics will aid in digestion or constipation. It'll get that flora moving, and it'll make some things happen. So I see some questions here. Okay, so Yacon root is sold. You can usually get it. I haven't seen it so I'm in Reno, Nevada. I know that there's some like mom and pop markets that will sell it, that grow it in Northern California. You can buy Yacon root, not the actual root, but the syrup on Amazon. So I know you can get that if you wanted to put that in your coffee, just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot. It's very concentrated, and it's got a concentrated level of inulin. So that's the prebiotic. So you don't need a lot to actually feel movement in your digestive system. And that's why it's been so beneficial for us and using it as a main ingredient in Rowdy bars. But it is very sweet. So you don't need a lot if you wanted to add it into your coffee or a smoothie or whatever to add a little sweetness, you don't need a lot of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on here. So why is it important to incorporate prebiotics into your diet? Well, I mentioned earlier that Yacon root has the superfood benefit of immune support. And how does that benefit, because it is a prebiotic, how does that benefit you and benefit your immune system? Well, prebiotics lead to the production of short chain fatty acids that have shown immune support health. The most known is through the short chain fatty acids they basically act like a vehicle that drive around your body and help move things around between the gut and the immune system. So they also help reduce systematic inflammation. And a lot of you probably already know that when you're feeling sick or you've got joint pain or when you're not feeling well, you'll have that joint pain or that inflammation. And prebiotics will aid in creating those chain fatty acids that help reduce that inflammation. How does it improve your sleep? Well, again, those short chain fatty acids and the secondary bile acids can signal the brain through the blood. A study from the Journal of Scientific Reports mentioned that diets high in prebiotics produce change in the gut, and the total number of metabolites presented within an organism, cell, or tissue that signal the brain and impact complex brain function. They found that rats who were fed a prebiotic diet spent more time in restorative non-rapid eye movement. Also, after stress, they spent more time in REM sleep, which is critical for recovery from stress. So how does it improve the mood? Okay, so prebiotics, which is a nutrient source of probiotics. So, it's basically the prebiotics are feeding those probiotics, have shown a positive effect on different organs. So you're giving your body the nutrients that it needs to function, and so that your other organs in your body are functioning. The idea is that it'll benefit your central nervous system and the potential occurrence of anxiety, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, depression, autism, and other mental disorders. Poor gut health can lead to inflammation, because you're not getting those short-chain fatty acids produced, and it can aggravate anyone's mood. According to the NCBI, inflammation in the body plays a major role in depression and is the pathway to negative mood swings. So I don't know how many of you have actually felt like after you've eaten something, maybe some French fries or something that really isn't that healthy for you, you kind of feel aggravated and irritated, and you're like almost like your body's itching, and so that's inflammation. So eating foods that cause inflammation can really impact your mood. We also know that prebiotics are fermented by probiotics in your gut, and that the byproduct of this fermentation, which is the short chain fatty acids, are able to stimulate and release serotonin from your brain. So there it is. It helps with sleep. When serotonin is released, that will help you sleep better. And this meaning that a gut healthy diet can directly affect your mood. If I don't answer your questions right now, I just want to let you guys know I will respond to your questions at the end, okay? So what is Rowdy Bars? What do we do? We're trying to solve a problem. It was a problem that I had originally encountered myself, and after creating this bar formula, I found that I was benefiting from it, and I wanted other people to benefit from it as well, especially people that were going through the same things that I was going through. So the problem is that there's too many unhealthy snacks in the marketplace. Americans are faced with obesity and potential diabetes. And additionally, many are living with digestive health issues. A lot of people out there have celiacs, Crohn's, IBS. A lot of those things are happening right now in the world. And a lot of it has to do with the foods that we're eating. A study that was conducted on 2,000 people, 72% said they experienced some sort of gastrointestinal issue in their lifetime. A majority of the survey participants who experienced the GI symptoms, 73%, reported that the GI discomfort may cause feelings of frustration. I was talking about that earlier. When you're eating things that are fried foods, or have a lot of sugar and things like that, you can feel that frustration kind of overcome you. So an overwhelming number of those who were surveyed, 89%, reported that an improper diet may have had an effect on their GI discomfort. 34.2 million people are living with diabetes. 1.25 million people are living with type 1 diabetes in the US alone. That's a problem. If it's something we can fix, that'd be by changing our diets, or passing it on to our kids and whatnot, then I'd like to be a part of that. So our solution as a company is Ratty Bars have a low glycemic prebiotic source like no other bar on the market. We use the Yacon root as our natural sweetener, but it's also a prebiotic. So not only are we able to sweeten our bars so that they taste good, we also are providing a prebiotic that helps people feel better overall after they eat the bars. 70% of our immune response comes from our gut and our digestive system. Adding Rowdy Bars to a daily or weekly routine, we've had a lot of testimonials where people are feeling a difference in their overall health, and then they notice it when they stop eating it. We are low glycemic, because we use the Yacon root, and we've been recognized for not spiking the insulin. And we actually have partnerships with the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and DECA, which is children's camps with kids that are living with type 1 diabetes. So we've seen a really good response from people living with diabetes, being able to have a healthy snack. So these are our bars. We have 5 flavors. We have the blueberry almond tart, chocolate coconut cashew. We have a keto, chocolatey cookie dough, and then a peanutty dark chocolate and sunflower butter and berries. We've won awards. So we've won the Mindful Award for Children's Snacks. And then we also were selected for the Supplied Side West as a finalist in the bar category. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time, and I'm going to scroll through some of your questions, and if you have any more, please feel free to type them over, and I'll do my best to answer them. Can everybody still hear me? Okay, great. So one of the questions, let's see, can you buy Yacon root anywhere? That's from Troy. Yes, you can. You can get it at well, like I said, you can get it from Amazon if you want to purchase it in the syrup form. But as far as the actual root, that one is a little bit harder to find. I do know a couple of mom and pop shops and farms in Northern California that do sell it. Some co-ops, you can usually find them in co-ops. So if you have a co-op near you, you might be able to find it. So Martha, she asks, oh, sorry. She was asking if anyone has a question. All right. And then let's see here. Troy, is it like, oh, does it taste like jicama? So I've only tasted jicama one time, and I think jicama is a little bit more on the starchy side, where the Yacon root is still a little bit more like an apple. And then like sauerkraut, yes. So sauerkraut is a great, it's great for the probiotic, and it's great for your digestive system. I'm a huge advocate of sauerkraut. You can also find prebiotics in bananas, chicory root, Jerusalem artichoke, asparagus, leeks, onions. You can find prebiotics in all of those ingredients. The problem is a lot of Americans today are busy and on the go, and they're not cooking like they used to, or maybe you are, I don't know, but a lot of people that I encounter, and a lot of moms and dads that I know, they're busy with the kids and don't have a lot of time to do all the preparations. So yeah, if you have the time to cook with all of those things, that's great. Do you have some tips on how to, okay, so Brian asks, can you give us some tips on how to cook with Yacon root? So how I used it when I was first experimenting is I used it as a replacement for any kind of sugar. So if there was if I had a recipe that I was using, and instead of using, like, I guess an example of if it calls for honey or for agave or brown rice syrup, or even like, I know like pecan pie even is, if you're going to make pies for the summer, I mean, that's not for the summer, sorry, for the holidays, it calls for corn syrup, which is totally bad for you. You can replace it, but I would be careful, because you don't need as much as what the recipe is calling for, because it is such a concentrated amount. A little bit is a concentrated amount. So you can actually Google, I think this is what I did, and then I just got kind of figured it out, and I would just kind of guess based off, and I would taste it as I was cooking. But you could Google, for 3 tablespoons of sugar, how much Yacon root should I use? And syrup, and I would say Yacon root syrup. And a lot of times it'll pop up and give you an equation on how to convert it. And so that's how I would recommend experimenting with it, and then just kind of figuring out how much sweetness you like and how much sweetness you don't like. I don't like a lot of sweet. I don't even put sweetener in my coffee in the morning. So I got used to just really putting a very little bit amount of it. See some other tips with cooking. So basically my biggest tip would be just replace it with the sugar that whatever the recipe is calling for, and then just kind of figure out what quantity you need. And then and then you can also, like I said, you can use it as a, an additive to your smoothies or your coffee. I mean, you can put it even on your toast like you would on, like if you had peanut butter and honey on your toast and you wanted to try it on your toast, you can do it that way too. Do you have so Stella is asking, do you have multi-flavor packs? Yes, we do. We sell those on our website. We have a 5-bar variety pack and a 10-bar variety pack available on our website at rowdybars.com.